Hello everyone, I am Bob.
I'm Karen.
And today we are waking up to a good day in Bar Harbor, Maine. Join us as we take you around our first 1,000 trails. How about that? And look at this. That's just a sneak peek of what we're dealing with.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Alright, and this is our first 1,000 trails. Wow, is the traffic here crazy. But this is Bar Harbor, Maine. And as you can see right off the bat, they have public transportation that comes through. It is part of, I'm assuming, the area. It's an island explorer. They take you all around. And but it is on the route here. And we're going to do something we don't normally do. We're going to show you immediately the pool. And this is what you're working with here. You know, very basic pool. You know, pretty open, which is pretty good. That's that. So as I swing around here, so now you're on my left. So this is full of love this morning. So a few of the things that we're going to be doing, this is actually pretty early for us. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. It's our departure day. So some of this is going to be pretty quick and kind of jump around a little bit. But over here, this is where you have your store and your check-in. And I believe they open pretty early. But the store hours, Sunday through Thursday, are 8 to 5. Friday and Saturday, 8 to 6. They do take lunch from 12 to 1. So this, and you have a set of bathrooms up here, but they're cleaning them, so we're not going to go in there. So I'm going to bring up a couple of things right off the bat. So for us, this is our first 1,000 trails. Okay, and those of you guys who are into this are pretty much wondering, yeah, same thing we wanted to know. What's the deal with 1,000 trails? So as we started exploring, and we wanted to come up to Bar Harbor for Acadia National Park, which is really the main attraction here. This is what we got to see was 1,000 trails. We got an oceanfront site, which is amazing. We'll show you that. Cost for us, let's start right up, jump right into it, $130 a night, which again, you're paying for the location. And in our particular case, you're paying for the view off the back of our site. We are oceanfront and it's absolutely incredible. But that's pretty much where I end with that, right? So, okay, not one site here appears to be level. And I've seen some really weird setups this weekend. As far as people leveling their rigs, it's crazy. Even us, it took us quite a while, and we're still back heavy on ours. The site next to us, both when we first arrived, there was a couple with an Airstream that was basically the nose was into the ground, and the gentleman who pulled up next to us was pretty much at the same point. His nose is in the ground. Yeah, his nose is in the ground. But we're seeing that with a lot of it here, and some of it is the terrain. Other parts, it just, okay, I hate to say things like this, but it almost seems like at one point this was a really solid campground, and then somebody decided we're not going to do any upkeep. And you can see it. You can see it in the signs that have faded out. You can see it in the grounds. So, but again, the main attraction here is the location. It's all location. And those of us with real estate on the market know location sells, right? Right. So everything is location. Yeah. So, apologize ahead of time because my allergies are kicking in again. That makes it kind of rough, right? Setting up was interesting, but at the same time, once you get past that, once we hooked up, and I'll show you when we get to our site, the water nozzle broke off, you know, the handle. Yeah, little things like that. There is Wi-Fi throughout the property. Couldn't tell you if it works or not because we never received a passcode. We're running off our hotspots anyway, but
we
normally
did
like
everything.
check that.
All of our check-in, everything was online. and the only thing that was offered to us was we had to fill out COVID papers,
Right, which
and you got a parking pass,
so
which was fine. And then they said on the website that you have to drop off your COVID paperwork,
which is
at
basically all the
office.
COVID paperwork that was out and was popular during
Yeah.
2019.
So we did it because it was on the website, and they
Yep.
asked us to. Oh no, we're not doing that anymore. We've asked them for a couple years to take that down now, and they haven't. But there's no disclosure, like you don't have to fill
Yeah.
this out. I mean, it's silly.
So it's just one of those little
it's
things
still-
that, right, and it was one of those little
it's
things
attention
that
to detail.
you're doing
that-
this, and because you think, oh wow, you know, Maine must be, you know, even I said to you coming up here, like, oh boy, should we be concerned that Maine is having us do all this COVID paperwork?
Which isn't.
Thinking
I mean, none of
that
it.
maybe
at the end
we're
of the
going
day
to a
is
hospital.
big deal.
No, but it sets you up to think that you're going to like a hot spot.
Right.
And you know, you should be nervous, and come to find out it was just because they haven't updated their website in 2 years.
Which
and
again,
whatever.
attention to detail. It's the little things.
But that's one of those things. So this is where it gets interesting too, is we look at site P5, which is, you know, these are all waterfront sites. We're taking it down our loop. But as we got into the check-in process, was all completely done online. Our reservations were online. Everything was done. We haven't talked to a single person here that
Which
works here.
I have to say is probably one of the positives. Like if
Right.
you're just coming off a long trip. I mean, the last thing I want to do is talk to anybody. So
Right.
to do this all online, to set up and to just be is a huge deal.
But at the same time, so I'll go back on that a little bit and just say that we predominantly stay at KOAs, and at the
Yeah.
start of a series for this year, we said we're going to try some different things. Now as we look into putting our house on the market and hitting the road full time, we want to check out the Thousand Trail system, because there's so much information on Thousand Trails that conflicts with one another and whatever. And this being a Thousand Trails location, we were all in. So when we do the setup online, and the check-in here is just, you know, you're not talking to anybody, right off the bat, to me, that was totally different than what you deal with a KOA. So,
And then the other thing that I also noticed was that in the event of an emergency, there's no after hours numbers. There was
nothing given, nothing on the website.
So,
But that being said, now look at the sites you're dealing with. This is site 92. These are all, again, waterfront sites, and it's beautiful. So somewhere along the lines, it's kind of a weird thing, right? We've stayed at state parks. We don't talk to anybody. You just go in, you know, find your site and whatever. On this side, it's a little bit different. So I'm still torn. So at any rate, but I will say, what a diverse set of group of people here. We are in the middle of like what seems to be an Airstream convention. And at one point I felt like riffraff because we didn't have an Airstream. But this is our site here. This is site 96. See, we have the truck behind us. We have our rig here and the micro mini. And what's up for a power pole? You know, you have your basic, for us, it's just your basic 30 amp. And this is where it gets interesting as we come to this side. So here's, we hook up the water, and this broke off immediately. Is it a big thing? No, but you can also tell that it's one of those things that a simple site inspection after everybody left, you know, would have pointed out. But as far as that goes, you have, you know, your typical fire ring, so, which is pretty cool. And then this is it right here. And this is right off the back of our site. And you can walk right down here. And this is a higher tide. Down there, there's a boat launch, stuff like that. So, let's walk down to the boat launch, and we'll show you that. But the interesting thing about site 96 is where we're at.
yeah.
So the interesting part was we have this awesome little setup, right? So we're right on the water, really cool. But that also invited, hey, that's a really cool site, and everybody wanted to join in on the fun. So we've had a lot of people coming in through and coming in and seeing the site, walking through. And so as far as that goes, that's been kind of weird. Like just a lot of people in and out of your site, going down to see the water.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
That was kind of just peculiar. That's all. It was just, you know, it is what it is.
Well, not for nothing, but I mean, you're paying $130 a night. And,
Yeah, it's kind of.
And so, yeah, that got a little salty.
So,
back off.
Just like center of our site. Like, that's all we want. But these here, the W section. And again, there's tons of Wi-Fi repeaters throughout the property. And again, can't tell you what they're working on. But if you take a look at that Class B, you know, and I watched them struggle getting that level. And there's some Class A's up on the first loop that they're totally lifted up in the air. Like you could totally go under there and change the motor out.
Good morning.
How are you? So, yeah, and then you have some sites down here. This is the older section, it looks like, and they're relatively level.
You can literally just go right from here.
Yeah. But as far as the water goes, yeah, you can go right from your site on these water sites. And you can go kayaking, you can go fishing, you can do whatever you want. And if you don't want to pay for a water site, just go walk through somebody else's. It's fine. I'm over it. I kid, because that's not something that's part of the resort's problem. It's more of an etiquette thing. And these sites down here look like these have been leveled recently, or at least somewhat graded. So the luck might have been better. Now keep in mind, when we booked this about 2 weeks out. And this whole place was pretty much full. Being a Sunday, we've had a lot of people leaving already. But as far as getting a site last minute in Bar Harbor, Maine, I can't stress enough like how fortunate we were to get the spot that we got. Mm-hmm. Not to mention it's waterfront. So any complaints that I have are really minor at this point. But as far as what to do in the area, okay. Acadia National Park. Next week you'll see our video from there. We'll give you a life update for those of you that want to know what we're doing next. Be on the lookout for that video. That park is amazing. We kayaked through Jordan Pond. Yep. Went down to Sand Beach, Thunder Hole. We did a lot of walking and kayaking through there, but it's absolutely beautiful and worth every penny. I think admission to the park was like $15 a person or $30 a car. Absolutely 100% worth it. So I think as far as here goes, I think this is your boat launch here. Or this is a canoe launch. Yep. So walk down here. And if you have a waterfront property, you probably won't be needing this because we could have launched right off of our own site there. But yeah, so the tide is still a little low. But look at that. Absolutely incredible. Fishing and tubing. So as far as a tourist area, which Bar Harbor is well worth checking this place out. As far as that goes, we only ran into a couple of snags with Bar Harbor in general. As I sound like an old person. We did. So if a couple of hints, normally we'll tell you, hey, check out XYZ restaurant. Oh. And you'll get a delicious meal. And well, we struggle with that one a little bit. After spending a good portion of the day in Acadia yesterday, we were able to find a place in Bar Harbor, Pat's Pizza. Yep. Absolutely amazing. We had some subs from there. Absolutely amazing. Later in the evening, I didn't want to go out and cook. So Gary says, well, you need to provide me with some kind of nourishment. And we went looking for...
And then you say, well, Carrie, why don't you just go out and cook?
Right.
The deal is when we go out, he doesn't not let me cook. He prefers me not to have to do the stuff that I do at home.
Right. But I love to give you a hard time about
I
it
know
too.
you do.
But yeah, I think when we're out, excuse me, when we're out, yeah, the preferred thing is to, you know, you get to relax a little bit. You earned it during the week. Let me take care of things because Carrie takes care of me all the time throughout the week. So on the weekends, or when we're traveling, if we're out for extended times, I like to try to take care of what I can. And the times I don't feel like it, we just eat out. And this was one of those nights, and we weren't into the lobster scene. We're not huge seafood people. We've done that when we were younger. So that's fault number one on us. Because, you know, hey, it's a seafood
and
area.
Because he said, oh, you know, Bar Harbor has so much that we usually stock our fridge and stuff before we take off.
Right, and I said not to.
Do that
so this is twice now. Those of you who watched our video a few weeks ago from Delaware Water Gap, I did the same thing there. We didn't pack food because I said, oh, well, whatever I'm finding now is I'm just going to start packing the fridge no matter what.
Water and fridge.
Water and fridge. So the water we've done, the food, yeah. So yesterday we scrambled to find something that was open. At 8 o'clock here, everything shuts down hard. So unless you're in the Bar Harbor downtown, we tried finding a pizza place that closed at 5 on a Saturday.
But it typically closes at 9.
No, 8. On 8, yeah.
8 o'clock.
So long story short here, be prepared with food. Fortunately on this site, on this trip, we took a few steaks with us. So we had a couple of flank steaks. So we grilled those up last night. So we didn't go hungry. So I know those of you who are worried about my physique, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. But up here, you have your bathhouses, which we're not gonna be able to go into. The only downside to these sites is they're not full hookup. They're water and electric, which means a shared dump station, which is very tight and usually has a line on traveled. So,
and for being a little after 8 a.m.
Yeah, we're a little after 8 a.m. on a Sunday. Still quiet.
Quite warm.
Everybody here that we have talked to that's staying here has been very friendly. You know, you could easily make some good friends, which is really what this is all about. Come out here, crack a beer, relax. But since we can't recommend food, we can recommend a nice IPA, the Baxter Stowaway. So if you're in the Maine area, look out for those. That was really nice. And that brings us back to our site. So a little bit of a different review this time. As like I said, for us, we wanted it more for the 1,000 Trails experience. And that's what we got. The pros of this place, again, it's all pros right here. This is it, it's pros. The cons of the place are going to be the sites are a little unlevel. The attention to detail as far as things being worn down. And this is an example of, you know, this is just a rail that divides us from our neighbor Keith here for whatever reason, but hasn't been painted in like 5 years. Little things like that, you know, this is the picnic table that's going downhill. There are little things like that that we've heard 1,000 Trail parks are typically older parks that are in need of repairs and stuff like that. Not all, but some. And this was our first experience of 1,000 Trails. And we'll take in a few more before we decide if 1,000 Trails is the right fit for us. But, you know, all in all, if it came across as negative, all in all, it's a very positive experience. I've had no issues here.
No, but considering all we do mostly is KOA, to have something not...
KOA, we've done a couple, I mean, so KOA...
So we've done different things, but this is more like... And it was weird because it's more or less you're on your own. When you get here, you're on your own. Right. So, which is weird. I will point out the one problem that we did have, which was the water. Oh, so, Jesus. And I don't want to make this video any longer than it is, and I apologize that this is crazy and all over the place. But the water here is brown. That's something we noticed. There's a lot of iron in it.
there's something, you know, whatever. We're running a pretty good filter setup, and it was still coming through that color. So we smartly brought our own water after the KOA in Bomoseen, Lake Bomoseen in Vermont. We've learned that lesson that we will never go without our own water again because of that. So we were covered, and we switched out immediately once we saw the color. And it could be in the area, not sure, but it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, you know, for our first trip to 1,000 Trails, you know, we've got one in the bag. Now we can sit down and we can take a look at this and see if 1,000 Trails is going to be a good fit, and look at a couple other places as well. So yeah, that was it. Stick around. In the next few weeks, we will be in Mystic, Connecticut at a KOA.
Yeah.
We will also be in Charlestown or Carolina, Rhode Island for the 100 and something annual Washington County State Fair. And of course, if you're going to be in the Hershey area around the middle of September, we'll be at the Hershey RV show. We'd love to see you guys out there.
Yeah.
That's it from the 1,000 Trails. I would say almost at the KOA. From the 1,000 Trails at Bar Harbor, Maine. I am Bob.
I'm Carrie.
And this has been 25 Plus Life. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll catch you next time. I'll edit all that out.
No, you won't.
I will, of course not.
No, you won't.
When you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still